What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another episode of Monster Hunter World. Previously, we arrived in the new world after being attacked on our ship by the large elder dragon the size of a frickin' volcano, Zora Magdaros. Ended up exploring a little bit of the first area known as the Ancient Forest, and now, after the orders from the commander, we are to go and quell this little Jagras problem. So, a couple things I'd like to address before we get into anything else is, first off, this little chest over here. So this little chest here is basically, if you see any of these chests across the entirety of Astera, you can walk up to them and you'll have access to your items, crafting list. You can sell your items, change your equipment, customize your bowgun if you're using the bowgun, and sell any equipment that you also have. So really nice to be able to access pretty much your entire inventory, not even having to go to your room. You just get access to your inventory by going in here. So speaking of, before we even get into this, I'd like to talk about this little store over here. So let's walk over to the store because this will address a major mechanic that's a huge part of this game. So let's talk to the provision stockpile person here. Oh, nice weapon, buddy. I guess that means it's time to get hooked up with some supplies. We carry pretty much everything you need, so if you're ever short on anything, I'm your guy. But as much as I'd like to take all your zenny, it's still a good idea to gather as much as you can while out in the field. So, what you need, buddy? So you can buy pretty much the basic items here. It's really not as useful as the store could be, but it's nice to get the easy things without actually having to go out and get the materials needed to make these. So that leads me to actually addressing items as a whole. So let's walk back over here to this chest, and we'll go here and we'll go to the manage items. So getting into this, materials to make items are collected by picking them up in different areas of the game. There are general items like healing potions or antidotes where the materials are required to make them are present in every single major area of the game. However, there are certain items that are exclusive to certain areas or are more abundant in certain areas. You can buy items in that shop, as I mentioned, and there are items that are easier to buy rather than craft, especially as you get later into the game, specifically like health potions. But the limited selection for healing and specifically buffing items doesn't make the store feel as useful as it could be. Many items, once you find the materials and have them present in your inventory, automatically craft themselves while out in the field. So if we go to the crafting list here, you can see that these usually will craft themselves automatically. So this little check mark here will denote whether you actually have the crafting on or not. So you can have auto crafting on or off. If I press Y, it very simply allows the auto crafting to go on or off. So this is very useful, especially if you want to stockpile on certain materials to make other items and stuff like that. However, there are also some items where you will be required to craft them first before seeing the end result. So as you can see with these ones in particular, like the ones with the question marks. Although you will be able to see what materials are required to make them, as you can see here, provided you've discovered them. In the description below, I have provided a link that lists every single craftable item in the game and its crafting recipe, so click link down below if you'd like to take a look at that. For me, as a rule of thumb, when you're first starting out, I think it is always good to grab almost every item you see in the field, as most items in general become very useful in one way or another. Your inventory is large, so if I go here, let's go to my inventory. So you can see, this is your basic inventory, your item pouch here. So it's rather large, so don't be afraid to pick up most things. There are exceptions, especially when it comes to items used to make ammo, but they are obviously useful if you're, well, using a weapon that uses ammo, like one of the bowguns. By going into this menu here, like I said, you can go into all of the crafting recipes you discovered and craft them. I recommend, while not out in the field, to dump all of your materials into your main chest so that you can craft anything you want from the chest/box menu. Also, much like equipment, you can make item sets. So I didn't show this in the last episode, so let's go to the equipment real quick. You can see that we can make item loadouts by pressing Y. All of the equipment I currently have equipped will be saved to the loadout, so anytime that I want to actually go and use this specific set of equipment, I can actually just go in here and it'll automatically throw everything on that I have saved to a slot. So let's just, for poops and giggles, let's just put it here. Yeah, you can see that if I click on this loadout, I'll be able to access all of these items instantly without actually having to go through manually and switch them all out, right? So going back to the items thing, you can do the exact same thing, and that's really important here, especially when it comes to items that are monsters that inflict certain ailments and stuff like that. It's a lot easier to have, like, the items that you need for a specific monster that that helps you avoid certain or heal certain ailments by having them all in item sets immediately without having to go through. Now, the last thing I'll actually have to address, well, two things, is that essentially by making item loadouts, what the cool thing about making an item loadout is essentially it mass deposits everything that isn't a part of the loadout. So that's why I recommend you go through each area and pick up a bunch of stuff, because as soon as you redo the loadout, like you reload your loadout and you get all the items, it just mass deposits everything into your inventory here. And the last thing to address is the radio menu. Now, the radio menu can be used for quests or for headquarters. So you can see at the top, it could quest your headquarters, right? So you can equip basically anything to this. So the whetstone to sharpen your item, sharpen your weapon, potions, what we'll get into called mantles, rations, meats and stuff like that. When it comes to all that, including what we see the SOS flare, which we'll also talk about soon. But yeah, some really cool stuff, and it's just really nice to have like a quick select menu for when you're out in the field. Now this changes, so if I go out here, if I press the left bumper, you'll see it's just more greetings than anything else. So you know, you have emotes and stuff like that, so that's cool. But in the field, this will change to obviously being, to being the item stuff. So all around, really awesome stuff, and I think that's enough of me talking, though. So let's get into the quest. So you gotta quell this Jagras problem. So here's the field team leader. So let's get up. So again, these lifts here, very easy. You can get to any of the major places here. So let's get to the canteen here. Real quick, let's talk to the Meowster Chef before we get into it. Hey, welcome to the canteen, the best place for you to boost your hunt. You're from the 5th, right? Well, let me clue you into what the canteen is all about. Gains, health, stamina, whatever, max gains. Go on and sit down over there at the counter, Scrawny. When you're ready to get your pre-hunt on, let me know. Man, why you gotta call me Scrawny, bro? Why you gotta call me Scrawny? And the last thing we'll actually do, even before that, we'll go to the smithy, because this woman over here has something we also have that she'd also like to tell us. There you go, newcomer. You look more hunterly with the weapon on your back. This is the armory. We deal in ready-made weapons and armor. If you need a weapon ASAP and don't have time to gather the materials, we're your ticket. So, newcomer, care to take a look? The defender armor, we're not even going to talk about this. It's essentially like easy mode armor, and it's not even really all that great. So we're going to play this game as intended, so no one cares about this. But this person, she'll sell you all your armor, all your weapons that you would like, but it's not worth it. The only thing that honestly the armor is worth for is quests. She will give you quests throughout the game, and those quests actually become extremely important. So definitely recommend you go to her when you see an exclamation point above her head. Oh, and just like we saw in the last episode, pressing the like the left button, left center button, will allow you to open your map, so you can see all of the map around here, and it'll tell you all the icons and everything in, you know, your room. You see the armory here, stuff like that. So really cool stuff. So finally, let's talk to the handler. Okay, partner, time to get down to business. The guild team teamed us up for a reason. From now on, you're my hunter, and I'm your handler. I'm the bread to your butter. Got it? The 5th Fleet's mission is to survey the Jagras' habitat, and then we gotta call a certain number of them in order to secure the area. We can depart as soon as you sign up for Jagras of the Ancient Forest quest. You ready?
What are we waiting for?
A wild and wondrous new world is waiting for us out there. So, post a new quest. Quests involve objectives such as slaying monsters. First, you have to accept assignments, complete these missions to advance the story. So there's a difference between quests, optional quests, as well as assignments. These include favors for NPCs. More will become available as you meet the necessary requirements. You can take on optional quests as many times as you like, which is really helpful. Investigations. These we'll talk about when we get back from these next couple quests. These special quests are issued by the Resource Center and can only be taken a limited number of times. Event special quests that are exclusive to online play. So, all we have now is access to is the assigned stuff. So let's go and accept Jagras of the Ancient Forest. And the last thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and you're free as preparations are complete. Grab a meal at the canteen, sharpen your supplies, get the latest gear, adjust your equipment, organize your items. Take a look at the upper left corner. When your quest is ready, begin the notification here. Press the minus button at any time to enter standby. You can go on standby, press A anytime at the headquarters. So yeah, some just, you know, really just not worth talking about stuff. So let's go ahead and see what can we buy here. So we have elemental res. I'll just go with this. Excuse me, the one thing I actually missed is doing the canteen animation, because there's a really freaking cool animation with this guy, but we'll do that next time. Damn it, I'm so used to skipping it. My apologies, guys, but let's leave on this quest. Let's head out. And as you notice, I did name my cat Mew because, you know, I'm Mew Monster 58, and I made him pink and blue so that he looks kind of like Mew. Yes, I did the white, but I didn't want him to be fully pink.
All right.
So
This is our first job. Let's do a quick review of quest rules. Rule number 1. Complete the objective to complete the quest. Easy, right? Each quest has an objective. You can't consider the quest done until you complete that objective. Our current objective is to eliminate a specified number of Jagras. Let's check the map. We ran into some Jagras on the way to base. The small monsters, remember? I think we saw them somewhere around here. Want to check it out? Rule number 2. Use the supply box. The commission supplies us with a loadout of certain items for each quest. They're in the supply box over there. Have a look and decide what you should take along. Ready to go. Oh yeah.
So usually
partner?
when it comes to any quest, you'll just get generally first aid meds as well as rations. On some quests, you'll get some extra stuff, but usually it's just first aid meds and rations. That's the standard that they give you. So getting in here, like I said, we got herbs, so we can just pick them up. So to scroll through your item bar, like I said, you just press X or B while holding the left bumper, and then, like I said, you have the radio menu. So I can sharpen my item by holding left bumper and then selecting the hotkey, right? And then I can also take potions, right? So if I wanted to take a first aid med, but I can't because I have full health. So the one thing I'll say here is if you kill an Aptonoth, which I don't like doing, but we're going to do it here. So if you kill an Aptonoth here, what you can do is when you
keep in mind that what you're able to do depends on whether or not your weapon is drawn.
When you kill a monster like this, you press B.
Gathering items, you'll generally want to keep your weapon sheathed.
You'll press B to carve them.
I marked gathering sites and monster positions on the wildlife map for you.
You'll get items by carving monsters, and specifically with these Aptonoth, all you get is raw meat. Raw meat is pretty interesting. So when we do this barbecue split, so I'll press X here.
Timing is everything. The color of the meat and the song are clues. Nice! That looks so tasty.
So the good thing about this is what it gives you is stamina. So when you do that, you get well done steak. And so what you can do is I can eat it, and then it'll increase my stamina bar. So at the top, I don't even think I really mentioned this, but at the top you can see your stamina bar, and then your green is your health bar. So those will obviously be increased. So if you eat meals or if you take certain items and stuff like that, and you will always start at way low health, but then you can increase it with, again, items as well as eating a meal. So these plants here, you can cut them and then you'll actually get health out of these, and there's your health bar. So it's really low right now, but I don't care for having it higher because I think I'm good enough to where I don't have to really worry about having my health knocked down all that much. So we're just going to pick up items here. Got some herbs here. These make potions.
You can gather honey and mix it with a potion
to make mega potions. Yep. So we can make mega potions with this, and then here, like I showed, here's ammo. And ooh, I guess it wants us to go here. So here's ammo stuff. So needle berries are ammo materials, and then here's some slinger ammo with the red pits as well as the stones. So yeah.
A pack of Jagras. Those are the monsters we're after.
Yep. So we have to kill these guys. So let's kill these little guys. So surprisingly, these guys are actually useful because some of their materials are required for certain items necessary. So for certain weapons, excuse me. Oh,
don't let them get away.
That guy lived, really?
Materials you can use them at the smithy.
Yep, just like you said. Alright, in addition to that, you also have mining outcrops. These are pretty important as well. So these will get you ores and stuff like that, which will be used to craft items, upgrade other things like charms and stuff like that. We'll get into charms in a minute. Same thing with these bone piles. Very similar thing. Weapons can be made either out of ore, or they can be made out of bones, and they start off either as ore or bones. So definitely pick those up, grab those, as you go. So cool stuff here. So let's keep going. They're going to be here. This is their little nest. So let's attack them. Oh, there's a ton of them. Let's get them, boys.
Use whatever you can.
So the cool thing is, we're gonna do this and
Keep it together. Okay?
boom. Alright, so we've completed it. When you've completed a quest like this,
Let's head home and report back
you'll
to
see
old
the
man.
timer at the top of the screen. And essentially, when it comes to this timer, the cool thing about this timer is that you can't actually take damage when this timer is above the screen. You can get knocked around, but you can't actually take any damage or anything like that. So don't be afraid if there's a monster on top of you attacking you. If you beat a monster with like super low health and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about it. So let's see if we can get any extra materials. Kill these guys fast enough before the timer runs out. See, 20 seconds, you got this. So just get some extra materials, because these again become rather important, especially stupid that these little guys actually drop an item required to upgrade the Jagras item, Jagras weapons, so definitely would recommend picking these up. So, got 10 seconds, yep. Here's a little animation. It's adorable. Like, it's such a cute little animation. And you got Jagras there. But look, you give your little Palico a sausage and he eats it. It's so cute. And, like, that little attention to detail. And you'll notice that throughout this game is incredible. So, list here, you'll see all of the quest rewards. So, we got some ores, got some mushroom, got a bone, an armor sphere. And this is what you use to upgrade your armor. And then you have the materials from the monsters that you slayed. So, some pretty cool stuff. You get, that's materials on top of what you carved. So, cool stuff. And this, like I mentioned last episode, will change depending on, you know, which parts of these monsters that you... Actually, I don't know if I talked about that yet. We'll talk about that going into this. But let's take all the rewards. So, see, you get research points, rewards, got your Palico levels increased as well, which increases his attack and defense. You get the cutscene. Now, when it comes to feints, each quest will have a amount of times that you can feint. Essentially, you just get what we call carded back to your base. So when you feint, you will get carded back to your base, and your rewards will be reduced by an increment amount every time you feint. And then when you feint, if you feint enough times, the quest will just end. So
Good to see you.
fine work taking down those Jagras. So there's no difference in their habitat, but their numbers are increasing, I see. I may be stating the obvious, but the Jagras aren't the only danger lurking around these parts. We received reports of a Kestodon herd getting out of hand. These must be all because Zora Magdaros made landfall. It's got everything riled up.
Listen up.
Well, it's going to be your job to quiet them down. We'd like you to investigate the Kestodon herd and call their numbers. I'm going along. Wouldn't want you to get hurt. So now we can go on quests with other players. No, I'm not going to turn on voice chat. We don't care about that. We got login bonus.
Now that you've got some materials, why don't we head over to the smithy to see what you can do with them?
Yeah, we'll actually go and do that. But one thing I'd like to go to real quick is also the Gathering Hub. So, let me see what this person is. I actually don't know who she is. Oh, the Gathering Hub, right?
Oh, hello.
Event Manager. Oh, hello, Fiverr. We're ready to open our Tavern and Gathering Hub, the Celestial Pursuit. At the Gathering Hub, you can meet up with other hunters and embark on quests together. To find the Celestial Pursuit, just look up. See that ship atop a stair that looks like it's about to sail up to the stars? That's it. You can get up there by taking the lift. Please visit us as soon as you get the chance. So, the Gathering Hub. This is sort of your multiplayer hub. So, let's go up to the Gathering Hub. This is gorgeous, by the way. I'll show you here. Like, look at this. This, like, oh my god, man. That's so pretty. She already kind of explained it, but yeah, essentially the Gathering Hub is what we would call, like, the multiplayer gathering area. You can complete event quests, siege quests, which we'll get into way later, but we'll get into them eventually. But when it comes to the siege quests, we'll talk about those. So the Celestial Pursuit is a gathering hub where up to 16 players can get together. Wow, there's no space between players and can. I just noticed that. It contains the following: arena counter, quest counter, notice sport, canteen, your room, hub provisions. You can also engage fellow hunters in arm wrestling and other fun activities. Most of the other facilities listed above are also available during offline play. Jesus. So you have the notice board, login bonuses, arena counter, quest counter. The arena quest, essentially, you'll fight monsters in essentially like a Coliseum style arena, stuff like that. So nothing too crazy here, but yeah, this is your multiplayer hub. So we go and talk over, go ahead and talk to this person here. the arena, there's monsters in it, you fight them, but please take your time looking at the quest list. So yeah, you can do new quests and stuff like that. I'm not going to even really go into this quite yet, just due to the fact that there are monsters in there that we haven't encountered yet, so I'd like to save those for actually when we do it here. But yeah, this is where you can do, like, you can actually drink here, you can arm wrestle, so yeah, you can do some cool stuff here. I'll show those eventually. But yeah, some nice little stuff there, and then this is where, this is like their canteen, you can actually eat here. And then you can actually go over here, and this is where you can change out your equipment and items and stuff. So very similar, like I said, just look for this chest wherever you're going, and you'll be perfectly fine switching out your stuff. So let's go back down. Let's go to the smithy, like the handler wanted to.
All right. Now that you've got some materials, why don't we head over to the smithy to see what you can do with them?
There you are, Climber.
Aha, look who's back with the material. Step right up and welcome to the smithy. You'll be needing my services a lot. What I do for you is simple. Whenever you go out into the field and gather materials, I turn those materials into weapons and armor. Drop by whenever you find something new and interesting. I'll give you some materials as a welcome present. You can use them to upgrade your equipment. So what are we hammering together this time? So you can use monster materials, like I said, in ore to forge and upgrade your equipment. Given the materials you earn as quests or carve monsters from the smithy to create new equipment for taking on even tougher monsters, like I mentioned to you in the last episode. So pretty simple stuff. So if we want to upgrade, let's say, do we want to upgrade this? Yeah. So when you upgrade a weapon, yeah, you can add it to a wish list, but I don't really care for that. But essentially what you can do is, there's trees. So we have a bone tree, like I said, they start off usually as either an ore or a bone, with some exceptions as we get later into the game. But usually starts off as ore or bone, and then you can further upgrade these, and then as you can see, the materials required are right beneath where the weapon would be, but of course we don't have those. You can see we can upgrade this with the iron ore that we picked up when we were out in the field, and maybe that I believe also that the smithy gave us. But you can see the different weapons that we currently have access to. This will expand as the game goes on, and then you can do a zoom here so you can get a more detailed look at each of the weapons in their tree. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Same thing here. You can also we're not going to do defender weapons again. I'm not going to do that. You can forge palico equipment as well. So if we go here, he has some weapons that you can make. So this is cute. Look at this. So when you're in here, you can press X to preview. Like, that's adorable. Like, and then we go to the alloy. Look, he looks like a little knight. It's so cute. So yeah, you can make this stuff. So pretty awesome. Unfortunately, we don't have the research points to be able to do that. But again, we can do that for the... we're going to skip this. You can do that for the weapons as well, so you can forge any of these. You can forge armors as well. So very simple stuff. So I can, like, you know, do this, right? So I can, excuse me, I can preview them by just pressing X. And then if you actually go to the whole, like, you go left one more, you can preview the whole set. So let's see, how many can we make? So we can make, we can make this, make this. I think we can make, how many monster bones do we need? 1, 2, 4. No, we don't have enough to make the full set, so we're not going to make it quite yet. But yeah, you can make new armor and weapons, so we're not going to worry about that because we'll actually make it probably maybe towards the end of the episode. So let's see. Yeah, you can customize your bowgun, all this stuff. Really, nothing too crazy. So actually, let's upgrade the let's upgrade my katana real quick. Let's go here, go to the equipment, and then you can do this and we'll acquire that. And let's look at this animation. Nice little animation, right? It's pretty cool. So, also when you're in your equipment menu, you can also just sort by rarity, which I like to do, or you can sort by equipped, attack power, sharpness, affinity, defense bonus, element. You can do a ton of things. Same thing with the armor. You can do by rarity, all that stuff. So pretty cool stuff all around. Just nice slice of life changes, a nice slice of life little menu things. So let's go over here. Actually, who does this guy have to say? Airship engineer. So the 5th has arrived. Greetings there. I'm the airship engineer with the 2nd Fleet. I'm working on flying machines, airships, and what have you. I'm sure you're curious about why you haven't met a member of the 3rd yet. That's because they've all been stranded for years. It wasn't long after the scholars from the 3rd landed before they insisted upon crossing the Great Ravine. So they got their ship converted into an airship and off they went. It was going well until just after they crossed the ravine, a flying monster attacked their airship and grounded them. Sure, they were reckless to go, but seeing as I'm the man who put them in the air, I can't help but feel partly responsible for it all. Ever since then, I've been working on making a better airship, one that we could go use to rescue them. But between the New World's nasty weather and the strong winds hurling down the ravine, it's been one failure after another. Still, you won't catch me calling it quits. So yeah, this guy actually will become important later. We might actually end up running into those people from the third. Who knows, right? Setting up here. Oh, what does the chef have to say to us? You're interested in bulking up the canteen with more ingredients, and that's what I'm talking about. Take care of the quest Fungo Flexing in the Ancient Forest, and that menu will be more packed than the Great Jagger's belly. Finish that one up, and I'll be able to get my paws in the goods. Don't let me down. So, very similar to like I mentioned when we were talking, exactly what I was mentioning when I was talking about the canteen. These are the quests that you'll be getting from the chef himself to be able to upgrade the canteen to access more ingredients. So this optional quest Fungo Flex in the Ancient Forest will definitely do that. I will definitely be cutting through that. Like, I won't be like showing you the entire quest, but I will show you most of what you have to do. So we'll talk about that when we get into it. So first thing I like to do, let's actually show that animation. So because we're going on the quest anyway, let's go eat and see what this animation is, because I love it. Take a look, guys. Right, it's just so cool. Like, it's an attention to detail, and funnily enough, you wouldn't believe it, this gets upgraded throughout the game when it comes to the animations, because the canteen itself gets upgraded, and so it's really cool to see that evolve, and we'll definitely show that once the canteen is evolving. So let's talk to the handler. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is to take care of those Kestodon. The chief said he'd be tagging along with us. How about we start a search in the Ancient Forest and go from there? Oh, and I've got some good news. We handlers post all the leads we find up on the quest board. You can sign up for the quest there too, so you don't always have to come all the way up here. But then again, you might miss out on all the eats up here. So yeah, like I said.
Quests from the quest board too.
Yep.
It lists the same quests that I've got, so don't worry about having to check two places.
Yep.
We're on the hunt.
Let's head to the Ancient Forest to research those Kestodon. So, let's post a new quest. So now we have access to optional stuff. So this is where you can do the Fungal Flex in the Ancient Forest. And then you also have, usually when you fight a small monster or any monster in general, you'll get an optional quest that allows you to kill more of them so you can get more of their materials. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the assigned here. I'm just going to go to the Kestodon Kerfuffle. Actually, the one thing, when lucky vouchers are used on the posting of quests, you receive bonus rewards. So yeah, some cool stuff there. Nothing crazy. Actually, we'll go here. So what I want to do is I'm going to make this one because I'd like just me to be playing this solo. Accept the quest. And now, let's head out. I know we have an exclamation point on the map there. We'll actually talk about that when we get back. I believe I know exactly what that is. Alright.
Okay. Our job is to cull a certain number of Kestodon. Recently, their numbers have been getting out of hand.
Want to get going?
Oh, the last thing I forgot to mention, this capture net. You can press it, you can use it to equip it in your slinger slot, and essentially you can capture little creatures. Next time we have the opportunity, I'll try and show that. But yeah, you can actually capture little creatures, which is pretty cool.
There we are. Those, my friend, are Kestodon.
Oh, these guys.
See you take them out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, these things are aggressive, so they're essentially like pachycephalosaurs. Alright, and we'll do that. These things aren't too bad. So the males, I believe, are the... Oh, no, the females are the smaller ones, okay. Because usually the females usually end up being the bigger ones in certain situations, but I guess in this case they aren't. Alright. Yeah, he hit me, man. Ah! Oh. So you can press A to dodge out of the way. I'm sorry I never mentioned that, but yeah, you can press A to dodge out of the way. I just don't care to because these guys really aren't all that strong. And like I said, you can see our health going down, and then if I go over here to this plant,
All right.
whoosh.
Look for another group.
So let's pick these, let's carve these guys out.
Kestodon are the least of your worries.
All right, here.
Bigger monsters lurking in this forest.
This is what I was talking about. If I use the net, boom. See those little birds? Got one. Got a couple.
Try to learn as much as you can about them.
Oh, we weren't able to... Really? We weren't able to carve that guy? Damn. Alright, let's keep going. Go over here. Now, when it comes to bone piles and mining outcrops, the thing with those is that they will respawn after a certain amount of time. So you'll be able to go back through. You just have to wait a certain amount of time. I just can't remember the exact amount of time it takes for them to respawn. But yeah, they will respawn after a certain number of minutes have passed.
Over here!
Yep, I know where he wants me to go. I'm just trying to yoink some items here, or materials. And before we go in, like I showed you, we'll go ahead and sharpen our weapon. Use that radial menu. Okay, let's move. So they're all down there.
Be careful.
Got fire herbs. I thought he was gonna go. These guys are pretty cool. I do like how they look, but eventually you'll understand these guys end up just usually getting in the way.
Good work. That just about wraps up our work here.
Alright, let's carve these guys up.
Hey, come here. I think I found something.
Yeah, let's carve these guys and we'll go over to him. He doesn't require you to go over right away. Just carve these guys. Don't worry about him. Make sure you get all of the materials possible. Because a lot of the times, this happens to me too, after playing this game for 1,000 hours. You still sometimes forget to carve things when you're really into a hunt. So, carve this guy. And then we'll actually grab these bone piles. There's a couple of them. Actually, I think there's just this one here. But let's grab it and get some more materials.
Over here.
Oh, really? It actually... Wow.
Look at those Kestodon. Something's up with them. Now!
Gotcha! Alright, partner. New assignment incoming. Take down that Great Jagras. If you're not ready, you can return to base and take on the Great Jagras quest later.
Your weapon is losing its sharpness. Create some distance, then use a whetstone.
Alright, so, as our next quest is hunting the Great Jagras, what we're going to do before that was we're actually going to go back home, so...
You need to call your friends for help. Go to the menu and select SOS Flare to signal it. And you're going... In order for the scout flies to better track a target monster, you need to keep finding traces of it. Like footprints, for example.
I didn't know he was going to say that, but yeah, basically to track monsters down to find them, you need to find their footprints, you'll need to find their things such as, like, how do I describe it, like, maybe they'll have mucus, or poison, or feathers, or something like that. Those will appear, and you'll just have to pick them up off the ground, very similar to how you pick up items off the ground. So for now, we're actually going to return, because I'd like to do a couple things before we actually get into our first large monster. So, getting into it, the first thing I'd like to do is go here, so let's go to manage items, let's just do this loadout, it doesn't really matter. What I'd like to do actually is swap out some items, so, and then you can actually swap places by pressing X and then just swapping these, so really useful as well there. So, now I'll show you the crafting menu so we can make more potions. We don't have enough honey, so we can't make those mega potions, but they auto-craft, so that's very nice. So, before we go, yes, the exclamation point is exactly what I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about this. This is ecological research headed up by yours truly. Tell me, did you find any monster data out there, tracks, gashes, that sort of thing? Data tells us a story about the monsters, an elaborate and interesting one at that. Your job in the field is to track the monsters, collect data in advance. The study, our job is to take that data, analyze it, and compile our findings for the commission. What we learn helps you out in the field too, so you see we need each other. Drop by here anytime and I'll show you what we're working on. So, what is it? So, ecological research is a facility that studies monsters. Their studies can help you with hunts and investigations. Gathering monster tracks will earn you research points, like I talked about before. Collect enough, your research level will go up, giving you access to new features and intel that will make your hunts easier. You can also go to the Monster Field Guide to view monster info, such as habitat weaknesses, materials that can be carved. Research levels do not increase automatically. When you see a report to the ecological research team, you be sure to pay them a visit. In the research level menu, you also find your scout flies level, which determines their abilities. The higher scout flies level, the senior scout flies will pick up the next 10 monster tracks. So yeah, essentially these scout flies will lead you to footprints, mucus, poison, feathers, and then you just go pick them up like you do items, and then you'll increase the research level, allowing you to find monsters quickly. So by increasing the research level of a monster, by the time you're increasing it up to level 2, 3, once you get to like 4, you'll be able to instantly locate a monster on any map without actually having to go out and look for the tracks or anything like that. So really cool stuff here, but the thing I'd like to talk about, so you have the research levels here. So we have Zora, Magdaros, Jagras, and then a monster called the Anjanath, which we are not even really going to talk about right now. But getting into the monster field guide, there's there's an endemic field guide, so you have monsters for like, we got those revoltures, right? But you do have, let's get back into this. So Monster Field Guide. So let's talk about the Monster Field Guide. Getting into the Monster Field Guide. The Monster Field Guide, lists all of the small monsters like Jagras and gives you kinds of good info such as what habitat they reside in, as well as what their weak points are, the elements they are weak to and they resist, the materials you can get by harvesting, capturing them in hunts. The large monster field guide is very much the same, so we can't really get into it because we haven't obviously fought a large monster yet, but essentially it shows what can be severed, as well as the chances to gain certain items when you hunt these monsters. A higher number of stars means that rewards are very common, so we'll get into this. So essentially, as you research monsters, right, so as you fight them, you'll be able to unlock more pages that show you the rewards, the materials that you can get from them. So a higher number of stars, as we'll see, means the materials are easier to get, lower number means they're rarer to get. However, your monster field guide may not have these tabs, like I said, the reward section. That's where the research levels come in. They research how much you've hunted the monster or researched it in general, finding footprints, like gashes, mucus, feathers. Also includes hunting the monster, and this guide even tells you how many specific monster you've hunted, as you can see with this basic Jagras here. To unlock the full field guide, you have to research enough times for these to unlock. I believe by level 3 or 4, everything should be unlocked for you. So, really cool stuff. Definitely recommend coming here decently often so you guys can check out how many monsters you've hunted. But this will be important because we're going to get into a new thing that I am actually throwing into this Let's Play. So, let's go to the canteen and let's get this last hunt out of the way for this episode. Didn't expect to run into the gate, Jagras, huh? Good thing the chief was with us. My heart's still racing. The new world doesn't disappoint, that's for sure. Bring on the surprises. So multiplayer, you can enjoy quests and expeditions as a team up to 4 players. You can join while in progress. So yeah, there's just some, you can accept a new quest. Like I showed you the players. There's a passcode you can set as well. Yeah, just some multiplayer stuff. We don't really care about this. So let's go eat first. Let's do this. Cool. Now I'm going to be mainly skipping over the animation, just due to the fact that we can just get right into it. So let's go and do this right now. Signed. Great Jagras hunt, and let's get into it. So 3, 2, 1, and finish. All right, let's get into it. Ooh.
Well, let's get to it. You heard the handler. No time to waste.
Alrighty.
Call your friends for help. Go to the menu and select SOS Flare to signal it.
Yep. So when it comes to any story quest, you can't start it off. You can't start off it. Excuse me.
You're going to need friends when you go up against some of the tougher monsters.
You can't start it, a story quest, without doing a cutscene first. So usually for every story mode, there'll be cutscene. And this is what I was talking about with the footprints.
In
So
order for the scout flies to better track a target monster, we need to keep finding traces of it. Like footprints, for example.
yeah, like you mentioned last time. So just pick these up and we'll be able to track down that great Jagras that we actually have to hunt.
Turning up a lot of clues.
And we have these as well. Just very pretty, man. I mean, this game is still gorgeous all these years later. 6 years later, this game is still so pretty.
You're less likely to
2018.
lose sight of a monster if you use the focus camera.
All right, folks.
We've tracked the Great Jagras enough for the scout flies to lead us to it.
Well, here's our first large monster hunt, folks. Welcome to the Great Jagras. Alrighty, folks, welcome to the Great Jagras. Now, when it comes to every single large monster, I will be going over them, essentially giving their weaknesses by element, if they have one, their weak spots and stuff like that, any other tips and tricks I can give you guys. And the reason being is because as someone who's overwhelmed with the amount of information this game throws at you, I hope putting the information that I will put on screen and giving tips and tricks for each monster helps to lower the amount of information this game throws at you. The reason we ended up looking at the monster field guide prior to going into this quest is because it's going to be very important going forward. The images I put on screen are directly from the monster field guide, such as the monster icons and the body diagram. I felt for quick info, this can be very helpful for first timers. I also hope this allows you to play along with me easier, as that is one of my main intentions with this LP. With the popularity of Monster Hunter World reignited after the announcement of Wilds, there are a lot of new people to both this game in particular, as well as Monster Hunter as a whole, as I mentioned last episode, and so will we be going over every monster in the hunt for the first time, or when we're meant to fight them for a specific story assignment. If you run into a monster in another hunt that we are not intended to fight yet, I will not be going over the monster at that moment in detail, because this will more than likely happen a decent amount, so that we can go over it when we're actually technically required to fight it. And so, let's begin with the Great Jagras. This is our first large monster. It's a great starter monster to fight in my opinion, and in that vein, it's not too difficult. It's weak to fire, it's neutral to ice and thunder, and it resists dragon and water. Now I equate the 1-star being the resist, the 2-star being neutral, and the 3-star being weak. I know that the wiki also denotes that 2-star is also weak, but I'll just say neutral because, I don't know, I feel that hierarchy makes a little more sense, but again, I totally, obviously the weaknesses are more correct on the wiki. I just like to put it in that hierarchy. The main thing to watch out for is when it eats an Aptonoth, and it can roll around. So it's basically like a snake. If you think about snakes, they eat things whole, and then they just let their body enzymes digest it, right? So this thing will eat an Aptonoth whole, it'll become huge, and then it'll, you know, literally throw its weight around. It has also normal claw, swiping, biting attacks, nothing crazy. And the materials, funnily enough, actually make great weapons. I remember in the base game that the Great Sword from the Great Jagras was one of the best Great Swords in the entire game. So, overall, really solid first monster for us to fight.
Land your claw on a monster and grapple.
Alright, let's get into it. So, I'm going to send this thing into a wall like I mentioned before, and then we're going to get and knock it down. Let's go, go, go. Come on, you big idiot. Boom, boom. Alright, now this guy's going to run away. So usually...
Monsters are running away. Use the scout flies as a guide and they'll lead you right to them.
Usually monsters will fight in specific areas. Essentially what you'll do is you'll go into an area, fight a monster for a specific amount of time. They'll get tired of you or you'll get fainted, then you walk back, you fight them again, and then they'll travel to another area. So usually what you'll notice is when you're engaged with the monster in the bottom left, you'll see I'm not engaged, so the border around the map is white. When you're engaged in any combat, it'll be red. So when a monster usually roars and then the bottom left goes white, that's when the monster is planning to move to a new area. So let's look at some slinger, and this is what I'll talk about. Let's see if I can do this. So if I shoot at the ground, you'll notice he looks the other way. You can see where he looks, and he's now looking. So if I shoot at the ground again, you'll notice, right? So one new mechanic I'd like to show, if I can actually get this guy to go. Jumping attacks, no, not there. Wasn't able to do it there, but let's see if I can. Come on, come down here, bud. I want to show something off, because you're an easy monster to fight. There's one of his attacks. Alright, so you can...
Now's your chance to topple it.
So mounting a monster, you can do this by using jumping attacks. You only be able to mount a monster every so often, so don't count on doing it every time you jump an attack like that. But yeah, as I mentioned, the scariest part about this guy, like I mentioned in my little voiceover there, is when he eats either an Aptonoth, also I forgot, a Kestodon. He can actually eat Kestodon whole. So yeah, this guy is not really all that bad, and I mentioned that he is weak to fire, but since you don't really have access to fire weapons, it doesn't really matter.
Now's your chance to get in there and tear it out.
So the main thing with Monster Hunter you need to understand is that the goal is to get knockdowns like this, because this is where you can get the most damage off, and usually attacking the legs will help you with that. A lot of the times attacking the legs will, and guys, I know I'm not min-maxing by tenderizing this thing. I get it, all you Monster Hunter vets. But yes, I don't think it's really useful here. I think it's just fine to just go and hit this guy over and over again. And if you notice, the little icon next to his... Yeah.
Better to hold off on your claw until things calm down.
And that is denoted by, again, that little icon. You see it's red now, it was yellow before.
That monster's really mad now. Be ready for some vicious attacks.
Now when it's red, he'll get enraged, he'll do attacks he wasn't doing before, he'll be more aggressive, stuff like that, so... Alright. Also, you saw parts broken. When you get parts broken like that, that includes, like, you've broken its face, meaning its face is a lot more tender, easier to hit. Your sharpness won't be nearly as... You won't be able to plink off as easily because the sharpness is requirement to hit a tenderized part like... Or a broken part like that is a lot less. So yeah, it's definitely your goal to break parts like that. Alright, as you can see, by gathering these footprints, we're gaining research points. So definitely recommend picking up as much of these as possible. And like I said, this guy will move from area to area, so definitely be aware of that when that happens. Alright, what's up, bud? Oh, I thought he was going to swipe. Oh, knocked him down again. Like I showed you, by attacking the legs, you can get these guys to trip a lot easier. So it's decent to tenderize the legs. If you want me to show you how to actually tenderize, let me see if I can... So you clutch claw like this. Oh, not getting knocked down. Let's see if I can... What's up, bud? So if you press Y after doing that and you attack, let's see. It's not quite tenderized yet, so let's do it again. Yeah, you'll notice the little white, like, veiny things on his body. That means that the part is tenderized and your attacks will do a lot more damage.
Okay, the monster's tired. Now's your chance to deal some serious damage.
So when he's tired, monsters generally will limp when they're weak, and that means that they're ready to be killed or almost killed, as well as what we'll call capturing. Now, capturing is a whole new mechanic. We'll get into that soon enough, but yeah.
Chances are it'll retreat to its nest to recuperate.
Yep, so each monster, as he mentioned, has a nest, and essentially when it gets to the nest, it'll fall asleep. Now, when it falls asleep, monsters that are asleep, you'll take double damage from the first attack that they do, that you do on them. So whatever attack you do on them next, as long as they're asleep, will definitely be, will do double the damage. In addition to that, usually you want to aim for the head, because the head takes the most damage, and usually for most monsters, it's the weak point. So... yeah, let's see what we can do to this guy. So for the long sword, we can try and do this. I didn't miss. Damn it. Whatever, it's fine. This guy will be dead. Wait, he just... okay. So that little thing was essentially like a little flash. It'll stun monsters, and we'll get into what flashing is eventually, because that becomes extremely important in this game. And dead. Our first monster hunt is over, and like I mentioned in the voiceover, it really isn't that hard. This guy's pretty easy. Remember, if you're still finding a weapon, needed to find a weapon that you're trying to like get accustomed to, go to that training range, guys. So getting some cool materials. And yes, I apologize for these first 2 episodes being extremely long, but again, they're very tutorial ridden. So if I flash this, you can see that little Jagras gets blinded. So let's see if we can get some extra materials. Alright, let's see if we can carve this little idiot. A nice little other detail you notice about the small monsters is, especially with like pack monsters like these Jagras, when you actually knock down a monster, they'll actually run over and start attacking it too. And don't get me wrong, they actually do damage, so. Got some monster bones. Alrighty then. Got our first quest complete. Very, very cool. Our first large monster, not first quest, first large monster quest completed.
I think we got a lead.
Maybe. Let's check it out. Hey. Well, you were right. There's our mark. Something's got him agitated. Look over there. What in the heck is that? I've never seen anything like it.
You think it's from Zora Magdaros?
I'd like to find out. But we better report back first. All right?
Alrighty, so we got a new monster that we haven't seen before called the Puke Puke. We'll get into that guy in the next episode.
I see.
So you think you found something that'll lead us to Zora Magdaros? Well, I'll send some researchers out now, but not with the pissed off Puke Puke hanging around. Puke Puke territory. That's pretty deep in the forest. We'll better be equipped to take it on. Once our team from the resource center is done rebuilding the forest camp, once it's ready, we'll make our move. Until then, we do everything we can to help them get the camp up and running. Let's get to it.
Once the camp is set up, you can go after that Puke Puke.
I wonder where the resource center is.
And unfortunately, we will not be able to talk about what the resource center is in this episode. But guys, in the next episode, what we will be doing in Monster Hunter World is we are going to be going over to the resource center and also taking on that Puke Puke. But also, we'll also be doing that optional quest for the Meowster Chef and then talking about a few other mechanics that this game has to offer, right? So I think that's about it for this episode, guys. So again, next time we will be tackling those objectives that I just listed for you then. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked down below. And thank you guys once again for so much taking the time to watch this video. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.
High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes.